Alrighty. Okay. So this one's gonna be pretty cool. Um, this one I have like so much that I could say about this. This is a plant that we will call Migizibag. So Migizi is an eagle, and our name to describe an eagle, Migizi, that's like a hook. Migiskan is a hook. So obviously, like the eagle's got these pretty substantial hooks for feet. So we call them Migizi. And so Migizibag, I actually never really understood the connection between eagle and this plant. It's broad-leaved aster. So the Latin name is Eurybia macrophyllus. Macrophyllus? I don't know. But the broad-leafed asters, that is continuously reproducible. That is what we call it pretty much everywhere. I haven't heard another name for broad-leafed aster, and it's one that we remember the most. Yeah, okay, so sometimes people will call them pukwene, and that means that's describing smoke medicine. Pukwene is smoke, and pukwene sagan is the smoke medicine that we use. Like when we usually use it when we're hunting. So that points to the use of this plant, which is to miijmaakijige, to take advantage of a deer's relationship with this plant, with this food. And it makes hunting a more successful and ethical experience. And so that smoke medicine and these plant creature connections you're going to hear about so much with so many of these different plants. Every single plant has a special connection or relationship with a creature, whether that's a mammal, a bird, a bug, a fish. That's sometimes what we name the plant is after those special relationships that it has with those creatures. So this is, I mean, I don't understand this one with Migizibag, but the way that a lot of people will call it Pukwenezgan, I think, I hate saying this, but it may be improper because we're just remembering that this is a plant that we're burning. Yeah, so the reason why we call it Pukwenezgan is because that's what it says in a lot of the resources that are out there. I don't know if people give me, I don't know how many of these plants used by the Great Lakes Ojibwa books that I have. I get them all the time. And when you're going through field guides, you're going to get the Anishinaabe name or Ojibwe name of this plant is this. And it's wrong. And it's wrong because these resources are generally created by non-Indigenous people sitting in front of somebody who speaks the language and saying, what is this plant? What is this name? And so if you don't know, but you have to produce something, this plant is what we use in Pukwenezgan. Oh, okay, Pukwenezgan. I'm going to write that down. And yeah, it's not correct. Pukwenezgan is a mixture that has like 35 different plants all in it together. This is one of them. This is the one that takes advantage of a connection that it has to deer and makes deer hunting more efficacious, more successful. And so if you wanted to learn more about these plant creature connections, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. I have a couple of them uploaded to our Patreon. So if you want to learn more about that, you can go over there. But this broad-leafed aster is generally, yeah, it's always called Migizibag. Also, one of the things that I wanted to say is when you're looking up asters, one of the things that you're going to come across is a lot of people will call it waanzik or wiinzik, and that I believe to be and have experienced multiple times in so many different communities with so many different types of speakers from everywhere that this is a mistake. And I think the reason why the mistake happens is because again, this is from a resource. So a lot of the resources will call asters wiinzik, waanzik, these sorts of names, and that is a name that we use to describe Seneca snake root, which is wiinzik. And wiinzik is one of the characteristic features of that plant, of Polygala Seneca snake root, is that it has purple stems. And when you're describing the asters, they also have a purplish stem. And so what I think happened is that whoever's making these resources are going into Indigenous communities, speaking with experts and saying, hey, there's a plant that has a purple stem, and as soon as we hear purple stem, we think wiinzik, one of our most famous medicines. And so then that's what we tell the person, wiinzik. Because this is happening, this research is happening in a room. It's not with like an ecologist that is out on the land with the Anishinaabe language plant expert standing in front of the same plant and saying, this is wiinzik. No, that's not what happened. They're sitting in a room and they're saying it also has a purple stem. Oh, you know what has a purple stem? Wiinzik. And so let me write that down, wiinzik. And so when we see that in resources, it's more often not the case. So in my experiences in indigenous communities with plant experts out on the land, asters has never been called wiinzik. Maybe that'll change, but the only plant that has ever carried that name consistently everywhere that we go, Ontario, Manitoba, even into Saskatchewan, it's always Seneca snakeroot that is wiinzik. It's a very, very powerful medicine for our lungs, and we've been using it for like tuberculosis and like all these really incredible things. So it's super important, and it has a purple stem. So just because asters has a purple stem doesn't mean it's called wiinzik. See what I mean? So really important distinctions to make when we are looking at the name of a plant. All of these need to be considered. And so I just wanted to add, a little bit to asters not being wiinzik everywhere, and them almost always being called Migizibag. And that's for the broad-leaved asters, of which there's multiple different species. But I don't want to get too crazy, too complex. We could probably call it a day there. But yeah, wiinzik versus Migizibag in asters. Very important distinction to understand where that probable mistake came from. And unfortunately, right now, I do not understand the relationship between bald eagles, migizi, and this plant. But that's what it's called. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be a lot of these times I sit to talk about the names of these plants and do not know why. But that's why we're creating these, right? We wanted to be able to make a space to have these conversations and to add to them whatever we can. If your community, your grandmas and grandpas called this something different, I can't wait to hear what's going to happen with these videos. But yeah, there is Migizibag, or broadleafed aster, Eurybia, macrophylla. That. Naha, chumigach. Mama.